Welcome everyone to our Thanksgiving edition of the Mastermind. Today we have a really important topic. Most of us go to listing appointments and we get hit with this once in a while and we don't know what to say. A lot of times we want to compete with what we're being told, but that's not the correct way to handle it. What our topic is today is I was told I can get more from my house, and how you come back from that. But not only come back from that, but also educate your client that sometimes less is more and more is not beneficial to them. A lot of agents go there and they tell people what they want to hear instead of what they need to know. And today we're going to learn ways to combat that and not have that backfire on our face. Last thing we want is just to take a listing for the hell of it. Remember, we don't get paid when that listing comes in. We get paid when it closes. Was that right, John?
Absolutely.
All right, good. All right. If not, we'd all be paid. Why do I always forget to do this? Why do I? It's magically going to change for me. Oh, you guys are so technical.
Turn it the right way.
Yeah, I can't get it to work either way. Morning. We're having technical difficulties. There we go. I'm like, there's only two ways to put it in, and it's not going in either way. All right, so today's quote of the week. You guys are going to like this one because today is for Thanksgiving. We have our Thanksgiving edition of the Mastermind. So our quote of today, of the week, is rejoice always, pray continually, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Jesus Christ. So what this means to us, guys, is that a lot of times we get caught up, and I just heard it over the weekend, how people sometimes get caught up in what is going wrong, right? We always get caught up in what is going wrong in my life, and I can't believe this is happening to me, and poor me, and all this stuff. But we forget how blessed we are to have just clean water. We have bathrooms, we have food to eat, we have so many things, but then again, we only focus on what's going wrong, or not even that. We focus sometimes on things that haven't even gone wrong yet. We focus on things that just we created in our mind that are possibly an outcome for something that hasn't even happened. And the worst part of that is that most times it doesn't even happen. But we focus so much on that instead of being thankful just for waking up that day, like waking up in the morning, like Tom says all the time. I'm happy I just woke up today. You know, I'm happy I have an opportunity today to clean up whatever mess I made yesterday. I'm happy today that I live to fight another day. You know, like those are the things that we really should be grateful for, no matter how bad our week was last week, how much of a bad day we had yesterday. I always said a good night's sleep will fix anything. So that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. The quote of the week is always be thankful. And we should always be thankful and give thanks to God and give thanks to our Lord and Savior, because we do not have anything if it wasn't for Him. You know, we have the ability to live in the United States where anything is possible. We have the ability to walk. We have two hands. We have everything we need to make whatever we want for our lives. So that's the quote of the week today. Our agenda is going to consist of, I was told I can get more. I was told I can get more for my house. This is something that you guys are going to have to nail down, because the more listing appointments you go to, the more you're going to hear this. And then we're going to talk about going 7 levels deep. We're going to do a group exercise on why is it that we do anything? Why is it that we're in real estate? Or why is it that we even bother to get up in the morning? Our guest speaker today, Jennifer Saavedra, she's going to be coming by today. She's bringing sangria for you guys who like to get midday tipsy. And then we have our announcements we're going to close out with. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Okay, I was told I can get more for my house, right? Who here has ever heard that before? Who here has heard I can get more for my house? Right, everyone, pretty much anyone who's gone to a listing appointment. I can get more for my house. Why do people think that? I can get more for my house. Any estimates? That's number one. Esther?
Because they're looking more so at sentimental value than
Yes.
actual market value.
Yeah, because they add this extra 10% on top. That's because I grew up here and my kids lived here and I did this and on Christmas, and they have more sentimental value, which you really can't equate to any logical sense. Alejandro?
The previous agent looked at the listing price around instead of the sold.
Yeah.
Sold price.
Yeah.
Some other realtor told them they could get more.
Another realtor told them more. Yeah, exactly.
That's 90% of it.
See, the way that most sellers think is they have selective hearing, they have selective vision. They only compare their house to the best house that's sold in the area. They never want to compare it to the house that's right next door that looks just like theirs. They'd rather compare it to the mansion just went up a few blocks away. You know, or the house that just got totally renovated, it just sold. Meanwhile, they've been living in theirs since the 1980s without any renovations.
If they've talked to a couple of agents, they don't compare it to anything. They said John Smith said I could get 500,000 for my house.
Yeah, sometimes John
That's the
Smith.
number they're hung up on.
Yeah, sometimes John Smith has a way of doing business, which is let me list it high and then I can ask him to bring it down 4 or 5 times until it finally sells. Now, unfortunately, an agent can get fired, and nowadays an agent can also get a bad review. So if you want to be an agent who's just collecting bad reviews on Google and Zillow, then by all means go ahead. But if you want to start creating relationships, because that person is not going to refer you, even if you do sell it, because you're gonna drag out the process so long, you're gonna make that person reduce their price so many times, and they're probably gonna end up getting less money than they would have if they priced it right to begin with. So we're gonna talk today about what type of dialogue you can use in order to get people back on track, thinking logically, thinking in a way where it's going to be beneficial to them, and not in a way where it's going to be hazardous to their sale price, and it's just gonna make them wait longer to get the same outcome or less of an outcome. Okay, first thing you can say is I will tell you the truth and risk losing your business. Who here has ever said that to your client?
I
Right?
can tell you the truth and risk losing your business, or I can tell you
Yeah.
what you want to hear and get your business.
Yeah, I think Tom uses this in his dialogue class. I'm going to tell you the truth and risk losing your business. When people hear that, they're like, wow, this guy or this girl is very genuine. They're really telling me stuff that I wouldn't normally have heard from a real estate agent. If a person has an appointment with 3 agents that day and everyone fluffs them up, and then you come in there and you say, look, I don't care what they said, they're entitled to their opinion. I'm telling you what you need to know. If I was in your position, I'd be looking at all these comparables, and this is where I would be listening at. I can tell you what they told you, and I can even tell you more. How about I tell you twice as much? But that's not the truth. The truth is this home is going to sell for this much, and I'm telling you this at the risk of losing your business. Now you decide who you want to do business with, right? So that's a good way of you combating that. Has anyone ever been able to use this in real life? Has anyone ever said that, Tom, you've used it when you were selling?
Mm-hmm.
How'd it go? Did they like your...
They just like you just said, it makes them, hey, this guy's interesting. I better listen to what this guy said. He didn't come in here just to list my house. He came in here to tell me what I need to know about getting my house sold.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so being genuine with people is going to go a lot further than filling them up with a lot of nonsense. If anyone has ever taken a listing that hasn't sold, how uncomfortable is that? Very uncomfortable, right? When I got started in this business, I was very immature. What I mean by that is that I was very easygoing when it came to the listing appointment. I listed for whatever they wanted. And then you know what I'd do? I'd duck their calls as much as possible. I'd only answer just enough to keep them as clients. And what that did for my reputation with them was just that it was a very, very bad outcome. I didn't get any referrals from them. I barely sold the homes. And you guys, you probably know the outcome. I wasn't doing too good with listings. When I started to figure out that the less listings I take, the better I'll do, because I'll only take listings that actually people listen to me and put the house on the market for the appropriate price, then I was actually doing better, because the time I did spend was productive time. It wasn't me telling the client, well, I don't know why it's not selling. Let me call the agents. Let me see what their feedback is. None of that. All I had to do was be genuine, tell them the truth. If they liked it, great. If they didn't, too bad. I move on to the next one. And guess what happens a lot of times? You get the call back after the home didn't sell for 6 months with the other agent. And that's what we're going to push for. We're going to push for total openness with them, so they feel like, hey, listen, even if you don't work out with me, I get it. I totally get it. You want to try to get every dollar you can for your home. But if it doesn't work out, I'd still love to do business with you, but I only do business in this manner. And you explain to them how that is. Okay, next one. Let's put the money where our mouths are, right, or where the mouth is, right? Because a lot of times agents say, yeah, you can get $500,000. Knowing good and well the home's worth $450,000. And I learned something a few years back. I learned something from a client, and I wasn't even the one who went to the listing appointment. One of our agents went to a listing appointment. He came back and said, I just met with this client, and he's had meetings with a lot of real estate agents, and he came up with a very smart way of listing his home. And I was like, well, how's that? He said, if the home sells for the price you say, you get the commission you want, right? Whatever commission is you want. But if it sells for less than what you said, you have to lower your commission in proportion to how much it sells for. And I said, wow, that's genius.
Yeah, I got the last month.
Yeah, that's genius, because now people won't lie about, hi sweetie, people won't lie about how much their home is really worth. Because if the person says, look, let's go with 5, you said my home is worth 500,000, okay, you want 5%, or you'll be good with 5%, great, let's do that. If it sells for more than 5%, I'll give you more commission. I'm sorry, if it sells for more than 500,000, I'll give you more commission. But it sells for less than 500, you have to reduce your commission as well. How many agents do you think will start telling the truth then, right?
A lot, but I would start it differently.
Yeah, this is an approach that,
Yeah, that's an approach, but I wouldn't start with that.
this is an approach that you can use to kind of get clients to give their other agents difficult conversations. So if the person said to you, my other agent said my home is worth 500, you tell me 450, I could easily just say to the person, well, if he really thinks he can get you 500, tell him that if it sells for 450, then he'll drop his commission to 4. And if he says okay, then you know he's telling the truth. But if he says no, then you know there's something to be had there. There's a problem there. Now, I'm charging you this because I know the market and I know what my time is worth and I know how fast I can get this thing sold for you. Tom?
I would start with, when the guy says how much he wants, let's look at, the guy says I want 500,000 for my house.
Mm-hmm.
I would start it always with, what information do you have that leads you to believe your house is worth 500,000? I want to find out where he's coming up with his number to start with. A lot of times, well, that's what I want. Well, what are you going to do with that? That's what I want. Well, you can't get that. So now we've got to start showing them comps and so forth to show them what they can get.
Yeah, we'll get to that part. That's one of them.
Yeah.
So next one, let's look at the comps together. That's what you were just mentioning. So let's look at the comps together. A lot of times people want to do a listing presentation, agents want to do a listing presentation and give their clients their opinion without basically showing them much more. Just, this is what I feel your home is worth. Well, okay, if that's how much it's worth, explain to me why. And then sometimes you come and you bring these printouts of listings, which really don't amount to much, because what does a printout do? It shows you the price it sold for. It shows you how many days it was on the market. But does it show you the interior of the home? It doesn't show you the condition of the home, right? So the person will be like, my house is better than theirs. But how can you really prove that it's not? How can you prove that home is better? You can't, because you can't show them the inside pictures. So you got to plan out for being able to have the listings saved in your computer where you can open them up and show them interior pictures. Not only that, but a lot of agents forget that a home is also worth the size that it has. So if the home is 1,500 square feet and the comps are 1,800, 2,000 square feet, and the guy wants to say, yeah, my home is just like that one. Well, Mr. Seller, unfortunately, your home is not just like that one. But unfortunately, the Garden State MLS doesn't do a good job of giving you square footage. So if you're going to go on a listing appointment, you make sure that every comp that you bring with you, you have the data on it. The data that is not easily found on the MLS, you have to put down how many square feet this one is, how many square feet that one is, how many square feet that one is. I'm telling you, it's going to be so much easier when you're able to prove to them these types of things, because what do we value homes at? By condition, by the location, and by its size, right? Those are the three main factors that you're going to find. Now, you can only use comps that are 6 months back, and remember, those comps that are 6 months back, by the time this home sells, those comps may not even be used anymore. But it's better than going 12 months back unless there are no other comps. If there are no other comps, then you can go a little bit further back. You guys know this. I'm not going to teach you a comp story today. We're talking about dialogue, but you want to make sure you end up with the right comps, and then you explain those to your client. Because like Tom says, the show is always better than the tell. If you can show them what the homes are selling for, and you can show them how much better this home is than theirs, let's be honest. Everyone thinks they have the best home. Everyone thinks their home is God's gift to everything.
My house is better than
Yeah, even nowadays, even if a home was renovated 5 years ago or 7 years ago, it's outdated now, because everybody wants white cabinets, everybody wants new fixtures, everybody wants all the new stuff. So if like, I just put these cherry cabinets in 5 years ago. I just put these maple cabinets in a few years ago. Well, Mr. Seller, unfortunately, the millennials want white. They want gray. They want these neutral colors so they can live a lifestyle that they see in the magazines. So that's what's going to happen. A lot of times they're going to be like, well, that's someone's preference. Well, that's true, but the majority of the preference is pointing towards these new kitchens, not the one that you have. So unfortunately, that's what's going to happen a lot of times. You have to also explain to them that just because yours is in good condition and it's in livable condition, you're still not going to get as much as this person because this was just renovated recently. Tom?
When you get comps, get those currently on the market too. You gotta see what the competition is, not just the sold, but also the competition. Because when buyers come out, what are buyers looking at? They're looking at yours, but they're looking at this one and this one and this one.
Yes.
So that's gotta be part of your comp.
Yeah, Tom brought up a good point. So when you do comps aren't just sold comps. Comps are also, what am I up against? And if I want to sell quickly, am I going to be the highest price home on the market, or am I going to be the lowest price? Do you want to be somewhere in the middle, maybe somewhere towards the lower end? Not because you want your client to get less, but you want your client's home to be more appealing. You want your client's home to show more. And if it shows more, what ends up happening in this market? If you get a lot of showings, you get multiple offers. As you guys know, this is happening more and more often. We all see that nowadays when it comes to homes that are priced right in good neighborhoods. So like Tom said, a home is with 6 months worth of comps. Those comps may not be the ones, the under contract ones and the active ones may end up being the comps. So bring everything with you and then get an idea of a strategy. Because what you're gonna do there with your client is, remember, you have to almost assume the sale. So when you go there, don't try to sell yourself on what you feel the price should be. You start to create a strategy on like, this is where we're gonna go in at, and this is why it has to be this way. And I guarantee you, if you do that much, most other agents haven't done that much. They probably will only show up with maybe a few printed out comps with limited information. You need to be able to have, yes, the printed out comps, because some people are old school, but on the comps you need to have square footage, and you also need to have with you on your computer the actual comps that you can click on and see the photos of the interior, which you can email that to them as well. So now they have the printouts, they have the pictures, they have the square footage, they have everything they need in order to make a better educated decision. So you know, if someone tells you that the home is worth $500 and you have all this on your side, they're more likely to understand you at that point, other than saying, well, Mr. Seller, I've been doing this for 5 years in this area and I'm knowledgeable. You know, I do all these things in the neighborhood and I go door to door, and they don't care about any of that. They care that you show them the real facts. They want to see real black and white stuff. So, Tom?
Can I back up just a second? Because when you start all of this stuff, start by probing. When you go on a listing appointment, start by probing the when, why, and where. And why are you selling is very important. Why are you selling? You might have to go a certain way. How about if I got transferred and I got to be out of here in 90 days? Or how about if that's just what we want? We've been here X years and this is just what we want. But when, why, and where, those probing questions early on in the process gives you a direction to go. When would you like to move? Where would you like to go? And why are you moving? And go through those early on, because that tells you what direction you're going to go with these things.
Exactly. All right, moving along to our next topic. Okay, listing to sales price. Okay, this is a tool, and I'm telling you right now, guys, this is invaluable. If you just learn this by itself, yes?
So I kind of want to go back to
The previous one, okay.
So in cities like Newark, where there's not really that many comps in the area of things that were sold, and if there are comps, it's more so like abandoned buildings or things like that, how do you go about having that conversation when you don't really have anything to compare it to?
Okay, Esther's question was, in urban cities like Newark, sometimes you have bad comps. Okay, well, I'll sit with you and go over that with you, but I was wondering where you're going with that, because Newark has tons of comps. Newark has a lot of comps, and John Lewis will probably back me up with this. Well, what you need to do is be able to train your eye to be able to go into an area, do a radius search, and then from there, you narrow it down to the ones that are closest, and then one by one, you manually go through them and see, this one's not like it, this one's not like it, this one's not like it, this one is, this one's not like it, this one is. And then once you figure out the ones that are most likely, and like it, then you narrow those down. You might be left with 4, 5, or 10 properties, depending on its date and all that. And then I go through them one more time and I say, when was this sold? Oh, this was sold 12 months ago. This was sold 11 months ago. And then maybe I'll take everything out that was over 6 months, and maybe I'm left then with like 3 or 5 comps. So that's the way I do comps. And whether it's a single family, a condo, or a multifamily, I've never, especially in Newark, ever had problems finding comps. I've had more problem finding comps in urban or rural areas than I do urban areas such as Newark or Elizabeth. There's usually an influx. Alejandro, you had something to add?
Yeah, I do like by like the home style, is it colonial or Cape Cod? So then I filter it down.
Yeah.
And then check like by number of bedrooms.
Yeah.
But it's Newark, Irvington, East Orange, that's the one you get most of the comps.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't think she's talking about having comps for flip house. You think you're talking
No,
about
I'm
ARV,
talking about,
right?
yeah.
So finished house.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
in
finished
Newark,
house.
in Newark
Yeah.
most of the homes that sell at the top don't hit the MLS, or someone brought their own buyer, so it's not posted there. As far as the renovated homes, like the 380, 390 comps.
Renovated homes don't go on MLS?
That's what she's talking about. Now, keep in mind, there's still a ton of them. You're just not getting them from the MLS. You may want to go to the, you can get them from the county clerk, or if you have a relationship with a title company.
So
And you can
do
still get those
do you mean that you don't find renovated comps on the MLS in New York?
So not just that. Example is I went on a listing appointment for a house in North. It was an older property, but the area of North that it was in, it was like literally the only livable house on the entire block.
Okay.
So for something like that, like I try to look at, maybe it's because I'm not trained or I'm not good at that just yet.
Yeah.
But I wasn't able to find something comparable to that property.
You gotta go a little further. The rule of thumb is, and
At least
the
one
loan
mile.
officers in the room will agree with me, an appraiser is gonna wanna go a little bit further out in time if they can't find something, or go a little bit wider out in an area. So depending on if it's in the same town, they'll probably go a little further out in the area. But if you're like in a town that doesn't have anything, then they'll let you go into another town. The other day I was sitting with someone who had a huge ranch that he bought in East Orange, and he sold it for $380,000 in East Orange, a ranch. I'm like, how did that even comp out? The next lowest comp was 320 or something, and it was a bigger house, but it was a colonial. The guy said the appraiser used comps in Livingston. I was like, Livingston, New Jersey? Or Livingston Street? He's like, no, Livingston, New Jersey. I'm like, are you serious? He's like, he had to go out because there was no similar homes. So I don't know if you guys have seen it before, right? The loan officers in a room. Appraisers will go out of the area if they have to.
Yeah.
They'll go back further than 6 months if they have to. They'll do whatever it takes.
Whatever they gotta do to come
Yeah.
up with something.
But you gotta choose. You gotta be able to choose one or the other first. If you're within the same town, you're probably gonna want to stick within the same town and go further out. And if you still can't find anything, like in rural areas, you guys have done rural loans before, like in areas like that, then you go past 6 months, right? They've gone to like almost 12 months.
Or the value just doesn't show up.
Yeah.
Or cost to rebuild.
Or cost to rebuild. You know, there's so many different factors. But I think in a city like Newark, you've got more than enough stuff to pick from. You guys can agree on that, right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, if you ever have an issue like that again, you know, just let us know. We'll be more than happy to help you. And John Lewis is right. A lot of the comps that sell in Newark sometimes sell off market, but you have an influx. There's so many that you'll find something. Okay. The next thing I want to talk to you guys is listing to sales price. What does that mean? Okay. If your agent that you met with yesterday told you can get $500 for your home, what is he average from list price to sale price? What is his average? Well, I don't know. That's a good question. He never told me. Well, let's forget him. Let's look at the actual average of the entire MLS. Let's see what's happened. What you can show them is what on average the MLS sells their properties for from what they list it for. And you guys have seen this comparison. It's called list price to sales price, or original list price to sales price, OLP to SP, or LP to SP. If you guys ever see those letters in the MLS, that's what that stands for. Now, what I did here was I created something for you guys to see, so you can use this as a tool to get the listing, showing them data. Let me see if I can pull it up, if it comes up. Okay. This is going to be a little bit hard to see. I'm going to make it as big as I possibly can. And take my word for it, I will share with anyone who needs it. I try to make it as big as I can. Okay, so what I did here was I took all the data from the Garden State MLS in Union County, just to show you guys in a quick example. The sales price to original list price, the average is 96%. I'm taking all sales. So what agents list their home for and it actually sells for is usually 96% of the original list price. Okay, ours at Culture Estate, I did our numbers. I took every sale that we did and we did the numbers from what it listed for and sold for. We're at 97.23%, which means that you're 1.23% higher than what other agents are on average listing their homes for. So what you can use that to make an argument with is you can explain to them, listen, when I sell a home, it sells for closer of what it's listed for than most agents do. Can we agree that your other agent doesn't work for Culture Estate? Yes, of course they don't. Well, on average, any other real estate agent from another company is selling them at 96%. We sell them at 1.23% higher. Not only will I get you more for your home, but I'll get it so quicker, and you can even pay me an extra percent and still be ahead of the game. So you can actually use this data, guys, to get your point across, because it's out there. The fact that we don't take the time sometimes to look at the numbers, I did it for you guys. Anyone who wants this data, you guys can put it into a nice little listing presentation. This was just data that I copied and pasted just for this example. And I want you guys to remember that number when you go to a listing appointment or when you're on the phone prospecting. We averaged 97.23%. Meanwhile, the average for Union County, all the real estate companies and all the real estate sales, and this is out of 2,452 sales on the MLS for single families. So use those numbers to be able to get your point across instead of trying to tell them, show them this. This will go so much further.
Make a statement about it.
This will go so much further
Yeah.
than just telling them, trust me.
Yeah. On average, we get more for houses than other companies do. Let me show you. Bing to bing to bing.
Exactly. Okay. Any questions on that one, guys? Do you guys think that would be useful?
Sure.
That would work, right? You're showing an extra 1.23%. It may not sound like much to most people, but let's think about that. That's a $500,000 home. That's an extra $7,000 for them. You know, what are they going to do with $7,000? With $7,000, they'll pay all their moving expenses. With $7,000, I'm sure they'll be able to, you know, put the down payment, a portion of their down payment or closing costs towards their next house. Yes, Tom?
What's more important to you, putting the most money in your pocket at the closing, or
Yeah.
putting the most money in your pocket at the closing?
Exactly. Yeah.
And anything else. Well, if I can show you, and that's a really good one. There's a lot of things that you can do statistically to compare our company to other companies. Even if we do it on a smaller basis, say Caldwell Banker sold 25 houses in Scotch Plains and we only sold 5. Well, we can still possibly show some statistics that say we get more money for houses than they do.
Yeah. Listen, there's not a company out there that doesn't use statistics to showcase what they do well.
Absolutely.
You know, it doesn't matter if you sold, like Tom said, 5 or 5,000 homes. If you guys sold one house and you got 100% or over asking price, send a postcard out saying I've averaged 103% sales price. You know, whatever you guys can use to market yourselves, it's real, and then you guys can back up with actual data. Use it. You know, not to say we sold 5 houses, but I'm sure that we don't compare to 2,500 sales.
They don't ask if
No.
you say stuff like that. Well, how many did you sell? They don't ask.
Yeah, they're more impressed by the data than anything else. So use stuff like this in order for you guys to get what you are trying to accomplish. Next, we want to talk about how much time do you have, all right? If the person says, my other agent told me I can get more for my house, well, how much time do you have? Well, you know what, we want to be out of here by the end of the year. If you want to sell your home quick, do you feel like it's going to sell faster or slower if you overprice it? You know, you got to start asking these rhetorical questions, just asking these loaded questions, because they have to basically come to the assumption and the conclusion themselves that the home may be overpriced or the home may not sell as quickly as they may feel. So if you ask them how much time do you have, that immediately starts to plant a seed of doubt, because Tom is really good at that. Tom asks people questions, kind of takes their own request, turns it around in a question form, and he does this very well. He makes it seem like, oh my God, am I really right with what I'm saying? You guys can do the same thing by asking them a question in a manner that's almost doubting their choices. You can say to them, well, if Alejandro says to me, he's the seller, he says to me, Louis, I want 500 grand for my house. I said, well, Alejandro, that you say you want 500,000 for your home, right? Is that correct? Like Tom always says. He's like, yeah, I do. How much time do you have? Well, I want to be out of here as quickly as possible.
When, why, and where?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Oof, well, that's going to be tough because it's going to be hard to get both. What do you mean by that? Well, do you think pricing your home more than what it's worth is going to get your home sold quicker or slower? Probably slower. So then you're going to start to use these questions to make sure that the person understands where you're going to be at if they choose this route. You know, everything sells at the right price. We can all agree on that. Is that correct? You can say questions like that. We can agree that everything sells at the right price. Correct. Because a home might be sitting on the market for 30 days and with no offers, that's a bad sign. A home that sits on the market for more than 30 days is a sign that the home might be probably overpriced. What's another indicator that a home is overpriced? Who has ever utilized data to show their client that a home might be overpriced? Besides, it's not sold in 30 days.
It's not showing.
It's not showing, right?
Yeah.
What's an acceptable amount of showings? You want to have an answer for that?
I don't know what an acceptable amount of showings is, but showings with no offers is the biggest indicator, I think.
Okay.
X number of people saw your house and they didn't buy it because they didn't think it was worth what you're asking for.
The answer to that is that every market's going to be different. In some markets, you're going to have 5 showings a week. It's going to be a lot. If it's one of Paul's $1 million homes, if you get 5 showings a week, that's a lot of showings. But if you have a house in Jersey City that's not showing 5 times a week, there's a problem there. You know, if the home is in an affordable price range and is renovated and it's in like a booming town, If it's not getting 5 showings a week, there's a problem. So I'm not saying 5 is a magic number, but you guys have to look at statistically how many people show up to an open house, how many people show up and show your home. And you also have a tool here that a lot of real estate agents don't have. For those of you who have started a culture estate and don't have any previous experience anywhere else, you guys have showing time. Showing time is an invaluable tool because what it does is it requests feedback from any agent who has shown the home. What you can do with that is you can use that as a report to go back to your client 30 days from now and say to your client, we've had 10 showings in 30 days, which is not a lot. From those 10 people, 5 have given feedback. 4 of them say it's overpriced, and 1 of them says that, you know, it's drastically overpriced. Don't you think it's time to maybe lower the price if it's overpriced? If you got, shame on you if you took an overpriced listing, but nobody's perfect. Like I have a listing right now that's been shown and shown and shown, no offers yet. I'm probably going to have that tough discussion with him that we might be able to bring it down lower. But the only way I can do that is by showing them the data, not by saying, hey, listen, this is taking too much of my time. I want you to bring the price down. It's going to have to be because other agents and other people are saying this, not me. I'm on your side. I want to try to get as much money as possible, but you need to use this data. Tom?
Back in the old days, when we used to have brokers open houses all the time, I mean, anytime you listed something, you had a broker's open house. And the best way to find out about the price is some agent walks in there, ask them to give you a business card and tell them before they give you a business card, write down what you think this house is gonna sell for on the back of the business card. And then in 30 days, if the thing's not sold there, you got a whole bunch of business cards to lay out there in front of your seller and say, okay, we gotta sell it in order to sell it. Once we have to sell it twice, first thing we gotta do is sell it to other agents.
Yeah.
And then they have to sell it to their buyer, and here's what they think about your price, bing, 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 bing.
That's a great idea. You guys can do that now. So when
You can
agents,
do that now, that's easy to do. If you
When-
have a broker's open house, just what we just said, give you a business card and write down on the back what you think it'll sell for.
yeah, when agents give you feedback, you can just reply to them, email them back and say, what do you think the right price for this home is? And then you can go and show the client that. Because you know what? You know what an agent would know, an agent who has no attachment to the home, they're going to be honest. They're not going to, they're not going to tell you what the owner wants to hear. They're going to tell you exactly what the deal is because their client's probably not interested for one reason or another.
They don't have a buyer.
Bedrooms might be too small, whatever. The buyer may not want it, but they told you the home is overpriced. Well, thank you, Mr. John Smith. Why do you think the home is overpriced? How much do you think the correct price is? Maybe John Smith will say instead of $500, it should be $450 or $475. And then you can go back to your homeowner and say, Mr. Homeowner, not me. I swear, I don't even know John Smith. He was one of the agents who went this weekend to show your home. He thinks the home is worth about $450. What do you think about reducing the price? Maybe we can get this thing sold before New Year's. That's what you need to do, guys, is show them, not so much tell them. And then when it comes from other people, people who know the market, it looks a lot better. Okay, now this is a tough conversation. Sometimes we need to walk away. And if we need to walk away because we're not seeing eye to eye, the last thing that you should probably leave them with is this. Promise me that if it doesn't sell, you'll give me a call. How easy is that to basically say to someone if you don't get them to see eye to eye with you on a price? Because sometimes they may say, we need to think about it, or we need some time to talk about it and see what we're going to do. I totally understand that, Mr. Homeowner, but promise me one thing. If you decide to go with someone who's telling you your home is worth more than what it actually sells for, when it doesn't sell, promise me you'll call me so we could get this home sold. Something like that, because that'll leave them with an impact so hard, because you're not cramming it down their throat. You're not telling them, no, don't listen to them. You're coming with me. You show them, you paint a picture in their mind. It hasn't happened yet. You kind of paint a picture in their mind that they're going to fail with this other agent and that you're still kind enough to still work with them. No ego involved. When they come back, you'll still help them sell that property. So I feel like that statement, when you walk out of a room, is going to be like that mic drop, when you walk off the stage. That's going to be a good one. So you need to do that. You need to practice that. So when I hear you guys doing your role play, I want to hear you guys closing with that, because every role play can't be, okay, we'll list with you. Sometimes it has to be, we'll think about it. Or, you know what, we have other agents coming today. We'll see you later. We'll call you. We'll let you know. Because we sometimes practice, and we practice in a way where it doesn't really benefit us. We are too easy on each other.
You can reverse that too.
Yes.
Would you mind if I gave you a call back? Would you mind if I gave you a call back in a few months? See if your situation might have changed.
Yeah.
You can flip it. This is a really good one though, because a lot of people I know from training 1,000 agents, I know a lot of them just give up. Okay, I don't get it, hell with it. All right? And they give up. And that's not the way to do this stuff. If we were talking about for sale by owners, everybody knows you gotta talk to a for sale by owner 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
So what's the use to call them once and forget about it?
Of course. Okay, who thinks they have enough ammunition here to talk someone off the overpriced ledge? You know, you guys think you have some stuff here? All right, good. Yeah, just one of these things, huh? Oh, you do? Yeah, look, you can have a night job now with us. So you guys have enough here to obviously overcome it, but you really need to just learn 1 or 2. That's like I always tell you guys, you just need to perfect 1 or 2 of them, because at the end of the day, if they say no to 1 or 2, there's no need to go with 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. You know, you just need to know when to let it go. Yeah, exactly. Can't beat a dead horse, you know. And some people, guys, you remember, some people are not gonna listen to anything but beside what they already have in their mind. So you need to know when to walk away as well. That's okay. But as long as you know you tried and you didn't just cave, because what do most agents do? Oh, that agent told you they can get you 500. Okay, I'll list it for 500 too. Let's go ahead and do it. But
That's the
yeah.
most common ploy is to take over overpriced listings.
Yeah. Yeah, and there was a time where I said to myself that, okay, I'll take the overpriced listing, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to have them sign something that says if it doesn't sell for 500, they'll reduce it. Even that doesn't work, guys, because what's going to happen is later on, they're still going to be like, well, yeah, they're still going to blame you at the end of the day. So, you know, you may want them to reduce that price, and then the only way it's going to really work, guys, is if you give them the statistics and really work patiently with them, and at the end of the day, be okay to lose their business. I would rather see you guys walk away from a listing that's overpriced, because you're going to end up losing it anyway, than to take it and then just be stuck with it. I mean, it's not good. It's not a good look for you guys. You guys want a higher closing ratio, so you can brag about that instead of showing that you guys are losing listings left and right. And you know what's the funny thing? They don't reduce the price with you. They don't want to. But the minute they list with another agent, what's the first thing they do? They all drop the price. Why couldn't you just do that with me? You know? So it's the worst feeling in the world.
That is absolutely true.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing they do, somebody else listed for less than it was on the market for.
Yep. Absolutely. So go with your gut. Let them know what you think, and don't be scared to tell them about that. Okay, good. All right, so let's get into our second topic of the day today that we're going to talk about. A trending topic is we're going to talk today about figuring out why we do anything. So I want to hand Joey, can you pass these around? Oh, I think we have enough. I want to talk today about why we do anything and why we chose real estate. And for the loan officers in the room, why you chose to be in real estate industry and mortgages. Tom, why you chose to be in education. We're going to talk today about why. Yeah. Yeah, we should have enough for everyone.
I'm too old for that.
Yeah.
Thank you, buddy. 7 levels deep, okay?
I think I should have enough for everyone here. Okay, we're going to talk about 7 levels deep of why. As soon as you guys pass this around, I'll go ahead and start telling you guys around. Okay, cool. We're good. All right, so I'm going to start by telling you guys a quick story. There is a boxer from the 1920s. His name is His name is Jimmy Barrack, I believe his name. They made a movie out of his life. I don't know if anyone has ever heard of it. What happened to this individual is that he became a boxer in the roaring 20s, right before the Depression hit, and he was really good. Guy won Golden Gloves, and he's a local guy. He was from New Jersey. He migrated from Hell's Kitchen, New York, into New Jersey, and he was an excellent boxer. But he had a very strong right hook. That was his like only trick, right? But he was a very, very strong athlete. So he rose the ranks. He did very well, and then he ended up getting into a fight that almost got the best of him. He almost got hurt so bad that they almost banned him from the sport because he was so stubborn and he was just so strong-willed that he didn't want to call off the fight. He just wanted to keep fighting. The guy could have killed himself from it. But in the meantime, he also broke his right hand, and that was his only real strong punch. So during that time, he had so much fame so quickly. He got a lot of money. He was wearing fur coats. The guy was living it up. He was a young guy, as you guys know, back then, with prohibition, all these things, like it was against drinking, but these guys are all doing that. So he got into a real crazy lifestyle. But after that, he ended up getting married. He had some money left over from his boxing career. He got married. He had 3 kids. And then the depression hit. As you guys know, when you're not making any money and you've got 3 kids, you're married and you got a broken hand, you got to do what you got to do. So he had to go and get a job. He went to the docks, became a longshoreman, and he started using his left hand because he couldn't use his right hand because it was all messed up. It was all broken. And the funny story about his hand was that there was a point where he got his hand was so bad, so messed up. He went to the doctor, and the doctor said, "You have to re-break your hand so we could set it correctly." And he didn't have enough money to set it. So what he did was he took another fight so he could break it on purpose so he can go and get it set because he didn't have money to have the doctor do it. So it was a really bad time. It got so bad that during the Depression he had to take welfare, which was new back then. Now you guys hear welfare and all those things, it's like normal. Back then you were a total loser if you took welfare. It was like, you're not a man because you're taking assistance from the government. But his kids were starving. There was no heat in the house. It got really, really bad. So he kept trying to go out there and get menial jobs. He used to plow snow, do whatever he had to do. And then one day he came home and he asked his wife, "Where are the kids?" And she said to him, "Well, I'm sorry, but we don't even have enough money to feed these kids. The one is with my aunt in this place. My other one is with my friend here." So something in him snapped. He went crazy. So he went back to his promoter. He grabbed his promoter and said, "I made you a lot of money. Like, you need to get me a fight." And he's like, "Dude, you're washed up. I can't do anything for you." He's like, "I don't care. Get me a fight." He's like, "All right, I'll get you a fight for $50. He's like, "For $50, I'll fight my grandmother." That's what he said. So he took the fight, and then he won the fight. But he was washed up. Remember, guys, he was washed up, broken hand, hadn't fought in years. He took that fight with no training. He didn't even go back and get in shape. He just walked off the street and went to a fight. He obliterated the guy. The guy was done. So then the promoter's like, "Oh, you did good. Maybe I'll get you another fight." So he kept fighting. He got better and he kept winning. For some reason, he kept winning. So now he actually got the opportunity to fight a guy who had really messed him up before, the guy who almost took him out. And he obviously, there was a big chance that he can get injured again, and his wife told him not to do it because he could die, worst case scenario. But he went in there and he killed this guy, like round 3 knockout, done. So everyone started now to pay attention to his career, and they said, "Whoa, this guy's doing amazing stuff." So then he goes and he gets offered the heavyweight bout. Now the guy who he was going to fight, his name was Max Baer. He had killed 2 guys in the ring already. Like, he wasn't like it was his heavyweight guys, man. He's not like some guy you just you could just write off. This guy can literally kill you in the ring. So he went in there knowing this, and he beat him for the heavyweight title. Now, when they interviewed him afterwards, and they said to him, "Jimmy, how did you win this fight? It was impossible for you to even think about beating this guy back then when you first started your career. Everyone thought you were washed up." And the guy said, the boxer, Jimmy, he said, "Well, I realized what I was fighting for." So back then he wasn't fighting for anything, but now he figured out, I know what I'm fighting for now. And then the reporters wrote it down and said, "Okay, now Jimmy Barrick knows what he's fighting for." And then the reporter says, "What exactly is that, Jimmy?" He's like, "I'm fighting for milk." So when his why was strong enough, he came back and did things that were impossible for him before. Not only that, but since he had a broken right hand, he had to learn how to use his left. When he was working on the docks, when he was a longshoreman, he strengthened his left hand so much that was the actual punch that actually allowed him to beat everyone along the way. Because when you only have one trick, you can a lot of times guarantee it's only going to take you so far. But when you start to develop other parts of your abilities or your life or your body, you start to do things that you could never do before. And not only that, but he found out the real reason why he did anything. So when he figured out that his strongest why was his children, feeding his children, being able to be there for him, he actually went all the way. And the greatest thing about him that a lot of people looked up to him was because he was an everyday guy. He was like, he was a guy that people could look up to and relate to. When he won that bout and he made money, the first thing he did was he repaid all the social services he received, the welfare. He paid all that back to the government, which is crazy because he didn't have to. But since he was such a person of principle, and it really showed what kind of a man he was, that's why they made a movie out of him called The Cinderella Man. I don't know if you guys have ever watched it. I haven't been able to watch the movie. I saw a documentary on it, and I thought it would be a good story to share with you guys, because today we're going to talk about going 7 levels deep and finding out why you truly are in real estate, why you truly chose a life of being an entrepreneur, why you chose the route that's a little more difficult than going and getting a job somewhere. So we're going to start with this exercise right now and see how far you guys can go. So with the first level, I want you guys to take a look at this sheet that you guys have right here. With the first level, I want you guys to write down the reason why you think you're in real estate right now. Just go ahead and take that moment right now and do it. If you don't have a pen, maybe you can borrow one from someone. Just write down the reason. If you guys are loan officers, you guys want to follow along, you guys can write down the reason why you think you're in the business, okay? And I don't know, everyone's going to have a different reason. There is no right or wrong, but it's funny how deep you can get, and it's funny how you can figure out why you really truly do anything.
You brought back one pen?
They didn't bring a pen for you, John? That's funny. It's stingy with the pens. You guys can take the time to go as far down as you can. And I'm going to go through this with you. And I'm going to share mine with you guys so you can see exactly where this ends up going. Okay. Why do we do anything? Good question. If you wake up in the morning and sometimes you find yourself figuring out, like, why am I getting up, or dragging yourself out of bed, or having to feel like you're pushing yourself to do any of the tasks that go along with being in this industry, you may be in the wrong industry. If you have to ask yourself, why do I do anything with no motivation? This is why we're doing this today, because we have to figure out, why do we do anything? I used to have a friend that I used to work with, and he was the least motivated person I've ever seen in my life. And I said to him, I was like, bro, does anything motivate you? Does money, do women, do having things, and does anything motivate you? Taking care of, he's like, no, nothing really motivates me. I just make enough money just to like eat and just pay my rent. And it was just like so sad to see a person like that. But later on in life, something snapped in him and he became a very motivated person, totally changed his life. But it's weird sometimes how you can see people who know exactly why they do everything, why they get up, why they go to work, why they spend time with their family, their friends, why they join clubs, why they do anything. So we need to figure this out today. We're also going to figure out, until we have a clear why, we'll never go 100%. If we don't have a clear why, understanding of why we do anything, we'll never be in it all we can. Just like the story I told you about the boxer, he was never in it 100% because he wasn't mentally understanding why he was stepping into the ring with people. He might have thought it was cool to have all the fame and the glamour, but he never really had a strong enough reason for being the best. You know, so sometimes we have to get humbled to figure out why we're doing anything. So another reason why we're doing this is because if we ask ourselves the right questions, we're going to get the right answers. By going 7 levels deep, we're going to figure out exactly why we superficially think we're doing something, but at the end of the day, we might be doing it for something that is such, it's so deep that is within our psyche that we didn't even realize it. Maybe it's something that happened to us as a child, and we'll get into that as well. Okay, so it's going to be also an easy way to recenter yourself and get yourself through anything. If we figure out what our why is, we figure out why we do anything. On those days where we're having a really rough time, on those times where we want to quit, we're going to quickly recenter ourselves and remember, this is why I'm doing this, and this is why I'm going to be able to get through this, and I know that when I do get through this, my why will be strengthened. Okay, another reason is because this is going to become your motivation, but your motivation on steroids, right? We always listen to motivational speakers. We hear people who talk on podcasts, and they get us in a really good, pumped up mood. But there's nothing that's ever going to motivate you as much as what truly drives you. And once you find what that is, always find a way to be able to see it so you can remember what it is. Always have it maybe visible if you guys are visible. Always have it somewhere where you're going to always frequent, so that way you can remember constantly, this is why I just got off this really bad phone call. This is why this deal just died on me, but I'm okay because I have a strong enough why. I have something in my life that I work for and strive for that is going to get me through this. Now, if somebody says my why is to have money, that's not a really good why. What that is going to be an outcome. That's almost a secondary thing that just happens on its own when you have something that you drive towards enough because you're so passionate about it. Money comes. Yeah, money comes as a result of it. If money is your why, that's a really, as crazy may sound, that's a very shallow why. It's a why that shouldn't be your point. It should not be your focus. Your why should be something that is more meaningful to you than money. If somebody told you today, your loved one, think about the person you love the most in your life. They need an emergency operation, right? But in order for them to live, you got to give me all the money you have. Would you quickly give up all that money? Absolutely. So that means that your why is not as important as that person's life. So that's why we have to sometimes think to ourselves that having money is a good thing because you can help others, but it's not its own. It shouldn't be its own target. It shouldn't be its own mission of your life to get more money, because money will come. Money is actually attracted to people who have strong whys, believe it or not. Okay, so now, do you have the correct why, right? There is no wrong or right answer to this, but I just want to make sure that you guys don't have a superficial one. So I'm going to go ahead quickly and share my why with you guys that I'm proud enough to be able to have you guys in front of me to go over this. I wrote this down a couple weeks ago, and usually whys don't change that often, but I just want to share this with you guys and let you know, so that way you guys can feel almost open and compelled to share yours as well. So why is it important? What is important to you about becoming successful, right? That's the first question. So my answer to that is so I can live the life I know is possible. Okay, so that was my superficial why, my first layer. And then it says, why is it important to you to live the life that you know is possible? Okay, so now I'm asking myself that question. Because I know how tough it is to live a life of scarcity. Because I've not in my life always had plenty. There's been plenty of times in my life when I have gone without, and it's been very humbling to do that. And then my level 3 says, why is it important to you to not live a life with scarcity? And then I wrote, because there is a lot of pain associated with not having enough to help your family. Question number 4 says, why is it important to you to have enough to help your family? My answer was, I don't ever want to feel that I can't give my family the life they deserve. That was my answer for that. Why is it important to you to give your family the life they deserve? My answer, because I don't want to feel like a failure. All right, now we're getting deep. You see how deep this can get? I want you guys to also ask yourselves the same question that you just answered. So I'm not sure if you guys were doing it correctly, but I want you guys to redo it if you have to. Why is it important to you to not feel like a failure? My answer was, I felt like a failure growing up, and I don't ever want to feel like that again. And then my last level says, why is it important to you to not feel like that again? My answer was, because I don't ever want to feel depressed and helpless. I don't want to feel like a loser. Okay, so at the end of the day, it all becomes psychological, and it all becomes because I don't want to feel the pain associated to not being successful. I think a lot of successful people will find that the reason why they are successful in something is because they have a lot of pain associated to the opposite of it, right? So growing up, I think you guys know this too. I told you I grew up, I wasn't born in this country. My nutrition wasn't really the best in coming to this country. You eat differently in different countries. You guys know that. You eat more organic. You eat more stuff that's fresh. Coming to this country, I started eating everything processed. I put on a lot of weight as a kid. I was completely tortured as a kid in school. They used to make fun of me because I was overweight, all these things. So I have so much pain associated to not being in shape that I think I attribute a lot to that now of being a health junkie. Like I'm always in the gym, I'm always working out, I'm always eating right. And it's not because I had to force myself. I just have so much pain associated to that I never want to feel like that again. So a lot of people who are successful are because they've gone through tough times. Do you guys see that a lot of people who have migrated to this country and had nothing, they become millionaires, billionaires because they've come from a lot of scarcity. If you guys have come from humble means, you guys also don't want to go back to that. So it's probably a good reason why you guys push yourself so hard. So when you answer this question to yourselves of why you do anything, a lot of times you'll be surprised with the answer. You know, you want to think about, okay, why is it that I want to be successful? It's because I never want to feel the pain associated to being depressed because you can't help your family, because you can't help yourself, because you can't, take your kids to eat if they want to go eat somewhere. You have to wait. That's not a good feeling. It's not a good way to live. So if you guys have enough pain associated to your why, that is a very strong why. And I'm sure, like I gave you an example, the Cinderella Man, the guy Jimmy Barrick, his strongest why was, I don't ever want to see my kids starving. I don't ever want to lose my children because I can't keep the heat on. That is exactly what motivated him to be the champion that he was. So when you guys figure out how bad it could be if your why I'm sorry, how bad the things associated to your why can be, you will be motivated to do anything. Maybe I'm saying motivated, but you can do anything. You will accomplish anything. So what I would like from you guys now, since this is the roundtable discussion now, is I'd like for you guys to share your 7 levels. If you guys feel open to doing that, don't be shy. Obviously, we're all in this together. We all have similar patterns. We all come from similar backgrounds. So if you guys don't, you guys know how it works. If you guys don't raise your hand, then I'll just have to be forced to pick. Gina? Yeah. Thank you, Gina. So what is your reason for wanting to be successful, Gina?
To show my children and my grandchildren you can accomplish whatever you want.
Okay.
That's to prove to myself I can make my dreams come true. To leave a legacy for my family. To be an inspiration to young girls and women. To show that I can accomplish anything with Christ who strengthens me. To show everyone who said that it doesn't happen for anyone, it's too hard and it's unsafe. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be able to help my family and others, especially children, financially whenever they need it.
Okay. That was really good. Thank you for sharing that. Can we try it a little bit differently?
Sure.
Okay. Can you give me the first reason again? Because you
To show my children and grandchildren you can accomplish whatever you want.
Why is it important for you to show your children and grandchildren you can accomplish anything?
So they have that positive image of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because I grew up not having such a positive image of myself.
Okay, so you answered 2 in a row. So what that would be is, why is it important for you to have a positive image? And you said, because you grew up with a positive image, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it important for you to have a positive image?
Because that's what gives you the confidence to go out and do whatever you dream of.
Okay, so why is confidence important? It starts to get really deep after a while. Yeah, you really have to search.
Because it's hard to get it. It's hard to maintain that confidence.
So deep down inside, there was probably a point in your life when you had low confidence, right?
Yeah.
Very low confidence, and that felt really, really bad.
Yeah.
And you probably think to yourself, I don't want my grandchildren to ever have to go through that.
Right.
So there is a lot of stuff that we sometimes mask superficially, but deep down inside, it's because we lived it. We went through it. You know, we poured ourselves some cereal with cockroaches in it. You know, like there's times that we don't ever want to live again. And those are the things that we want to be able to take away from anyone that's around us now if we have the power to do so. So that's great. Thank you for sharing that with us. Can you pick someone for us, Gina? Oh, Esther, thank you for volunteering.
Okay, so mine is, well, why is it important for you to become successful? Mine is providing financial freedom and the opportunity to have choices.
Can we stop right there? Okay. Let's do it the way it's meant to be. Okay. Why is it important for you to have financial freedom and choices? Without looking at you, people. Just answer. Why is it important for you to have financial freedom?
Because you're able to, you gain more access to things, you gain more access to knowledge, you gain access to better health, better food.
Short answer. Why is it important for you to have access?
Because life is better.
Why is life better with access?
Because you can build stability.
Why is building stability important to you? No, let her answer.
It's not even a sentence. Because the unknown is terrifying. It's not terrifying, but the unknown is stressful. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Why is the unknown so scary? It's okay.
Because what's on now? Because then you're just surviving for today.
Why is it important to not just survive? This is the last one.
Why is it important to not just survive?
To you, why is it important to you?
Because you never really see life.
Okay. You want to experience life. So your why is because you want to experience life. Think about that, right? When you start asking yourselves the questions that you superficially think are your reason why, you get to a level that's so much deeper that now we could think about, oh my God, my why is because I want to experience life. I don't want to miss out on life. And I don't want anyone else to experience out on life that's around me, to have the power to help. If you have the power to help your mom, your daughter, your son, or anyone, you know, it's just, it behooves you to not try and not do it. So now you get to pick someone. We had a couple examples coming.
Paul.
Paulie. Oh my God, Paul's good at wise.
I'm not done yet, but give me 1 second.
Oh, sorry.
All right. I don't know. I just was writing, so
Gotcha.
hopefully it's right.
Let's do it.
So,
Let's do it off the cuff.
to give my son a better life, and if I'm not successful, I'm not living up to my capability.
Let's start
But
with
I know
that.
that I'm.
Let's start with that.
Yeah.
Because I think everyone's first why is the most important thing. So why is it so important for you to give your son a good life?
The next one I have is because it's my job as a father and a man to be as successful as I can.
Okay. Okay, why is it important for you to be a successful father?
Because if I don't succeed, I'm not living my life to its fullest and leading as an example to him.
Why is it important for you to be a good example?
Because I know what I can accomplish if I want to, and I want to show him that you can accomplish anything. To give him a good head start in life and to have a better life than me.
Okay, why is it important for him to have a better life than you?
I said, if I don't accomplish things I know I can, I am failing as a father, and
Don't even
I
look at
want
that.
to not be a failure.
Yeah, don't even look at that, right?
Yeah.
So why is it important for you to be a successful example for him?
Why is it important? Because it's to me, it's because I love him, and
'Cause you love him.
know when you love something or love somebody, you know. You go above and beyond to give them what you don't have, or you know, something that can make them a better person.
Yeah.
And I mean, for me, really, I'm not just saying that. That's my motivation. Is to give him anything, a better chance than I had.
Okay.
You know, to be more successful, and just to keep that, you know, making it easier. And I believe as a parent, that should be our jobs, is to, you know, give our kids a better chance.
Well, for those who care,
Yeah.
for those parents who want that for their kids, but is that strong enough for you to be able to get through anything?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. And then when you know that, you can remind yourself of that whenever you're having a rough day, a rough patch, just like we all do sometimes. So, yeah, so you understand. I mean, a lot of times that, you know, it's not as complicated as we may think. It may be very apparent, you know. So the fact that you want to be able to make sure that you not only help yourself, but you also set an example for him to see that, you know, everything is possible, and that you'll do anything for him to not have to experience what you've gone through or whatever has happened to you. So those are important things. Go ahead and pick someone else for me. We'll do another example. Yeah, let's
Just
do
make
it.
it simple.
Yeah, good. Let's keep it short, the answer, and let's just start with the first one, and I'll guide you through.
Alright, so being successful is important to me because I need to be financially secure and have flexibility during the day for my daughter,
Why is it important for you to be financially secure?
so that I could provide for my daughter,
Why is it important for you to provide for your daughter?
so that she has a good life and all the opportunities that she
Why is it
needs.
important for you to have your daughter have a good life?
So that she can accomplish whatever it is that she's going to accomplish, and for me to also set a good example.
Why is it important for you to make sure that she has a good life?
Because that's your job as a parent, and that's like along the lines of what Paul said. You that's your child. You love them. You want to do the absolute best you can.
Why is it important for you to do your best for her?
To make so that she succeeds. So that she succeeds.
Was there ever a time that you felt that you weren't succeeding?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want her to experience that?
It builds character. I mean, it's gonna happen
Yeah.
at some point, but I want to do what I can to make sure that it's as easy for her as it can be.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of us, our children are going to be the reason why we do anything and everything. And we've gone through experiences where we feel like, oh my God, there was a lot of pain associated with that. And I don't want my kids to feel that. But she said something that was actually really good, that trouble and circumstances build character, right? And if we try to shelter our kids from that, a lot of times we're doing them a disservice. Just like it says in the Bible, if you love your children, you're going to discipline them, not cuddle them and say, don't worry, it's okay. You know, sometimes you do have to be tough, and you have to show them tough love, and you got to prepare them for the world, because what happens when they leave your house? They see the world for what it is, and they've been sheltered so long, it's kind of like a domesticated animal. They'll get killed out there. They won't know what's going on. So you kind of almost have to have them experience life, but be there next to them and let them know that they've always got a friend in you to be able to count on you for any problems they may have, so they can talk to you. Because what I've seen a lot of times, including myself, we're never able to talk to our parents or tell our parents what we're going through because we're scared of how they might react, right? And I think the most we could do for them is let them know that we actually do love them no matter what, and then, you know, they'll be our best friends as well. Does anyone else want to volunteer? If not, we'll move along because we do have guest speaker today. Anyone else want to share? You guys are chickens. Tom?
Hey, it's so funny, I'm sitting here. watching
Turkeys,
this.
turkeys.
This is great, but I'd have to do it in reverse.
Let's go.
I'd have to do it in reverse.
Sure.
I've done everything that I want to do, and so now I'm sitting here listening to all these people, and I say, I did that 50 years ago, and I did that 40 years ago, and so forth. It's really interesting. I never thought about it.
What's that?
Just life.
Yeah.
I just did it. I just did it. I mean, when I was a kid, I don't mind telling you, when I was a kid, that everybody told me I was never going to amount to anything.
Yeah.
I was never going to do this, and I've always been the most competitive person in the world, and I just did it by being competitive. They told me I went to high school. They told me I wasn't going to be a good athlete, and I got 12 varsity letters. I got to college by accident. I mean, purely by accident, and I did well there. You know, you start thinking about all the way down the line, different things that happened to me. Nearly everything that ever happened to me happened to me because somebody told me I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is a lot of times that sheer competitive nature and willpower will get you there, not just being book smart, because not everyone is built the same. You know.
Absolutely. You and I are a whole lot in common in that way. But you're as competitive as you can be. I know that.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, Tom. Good. I appreciate you guys participating in our topic and our roundtable discussion for today. Now I want to be able to hand over the floor to Jennifer. She's here to talk to us today about some of the trending mortgage topics that she is going to share with us. So Jennifer, please come.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning.
That was really good. The last part. Yeah, that was good. 7 levels. No, I'm saying. I'll help my girl out.
Yes, please do. I culture devastated. Just click that shit right here. Yeah, I think so. I just gotta change the Wi-Fi because I think this part of the office gets a different signal. Is that an iPhone?
Yeah.
Can you airdrop it?
Yep.
Of course, when you need something, that always takes forever.
I'm doing it directly from Drive, so I don't know if I could do it directly from here.
You drive?
Yeah.
Send a copy.
half of ours.
I'd say you're gonna the Wi-Fi would probably be worse. You know which is the Wi-Fi that works? Huh? I should just ask Joy, what are you holding on? I should have told me that.
Huh?
You just like watching me fail. Sounds like a drug pusher.
Absolutely. Hey,
What you need?
hey, I've got most of the answers.
It's good. Big resource.
I've only been training people for 60 years.
Have you written a book yet?
Don't get it started.
You see what the name of the book is?
Yeah, let's talk.
Let's Talk. You know why it's titled Let's Talk?
Why is it titled
Because
Let's
most
Talk?
people can't. They're too busy doing this, hell, they can't talk to each other.
Nowadays, right?
Yeah, they can't, nobody can talk to anybody. They
But
gotta do
talking
that.
is such an important part of our roles, right?
Hey,
Just
if you can't learn
constantly
to
talking.
talk to
He's
people,
busy
you can't, just like you and I.
Yeah.
What was
We
that?
can't stay here eye to eye,
Tom
face to
was
face,
with the-
talk to each other about the real estate business. You're gonna talk about the mortgage
But
business.
with the-
I don't know
Right.
anything about mortgage.
Yeah.
Well, I don't care to know anything about mortgage. I know what I know. I know what I know. I know the sales skills,
Yeah.
all of them.
That translates to both of us.
Sure, it does. Here, you want great words? In your dialogue, use the word service and benefit.
Oh, yeah.
Use those words. This is the services I provide for you, and this is how you will benefit.
Oh, absolutely.
Service benefit, service
That's why we're
benefit,
here.
service benefit,
Absolutely.
Service benefit. Service benefit, see what they say, check the reaction, and close.
Mike, what Wi-Fi do we use here?
SBCC.
This is grab my laptop.
Huh?
I just switched to 43.
43?
Is the link
that work?
not loading? Is that what it is? Or?
Nothing's loading.
It's on, there you go. I'm on
So we can't talk to each other, nothing's working, we can't talk to each other.
Oh, we could totally talk to each other.
We can't talk to each other.
No, that's not
Once it opens, it'll be good. but
Yeah.
It's like
Until
fighting.
then, we can't
Oh,
talk
there
to
it
each
is.
other.
That's,
There you go.
that's it, right there.
When did you start?
I started in August. I was in Jersey City doing luxury rentals. And I switched to this.
It's a pain in the ass.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Very cool.
Just,
This goes,
I like.
this goes next.
My broker wasn't really training, so I was like, let me switch.
Oh, good.
Absolutely.
All right, so I'm not gonna clip this on because we're kind of doing the presentation together, guys. But thank you, Louis, for having me here. It's been a while that I've been wanting to come in and meet you all. I'm a local lender. I just transitioned over to PRMG. I've been with PRMG for a little bit now, and one of the main reasons why I wanted to come on board is because of their value proposition and the service that they provide for our agents. It's extremely important for us and for me, for my business model, to always have a giver's gain mentality. When you give, you receive, and that's what our entire business is about, right? We're helping people, we're helping them move out of a house, a senior that needs to sell their house. So all of those things are important for you as a listing agent, and one of the biggest things that you need as an agent is something that we can't get more of, which is time, right? So that's where our concierge model comes in, where we have a platform to help you cultivate your leads, to help you create more time so that you could be out there listing more presentations, booking more presentations, talking to more people, and providing the service that you need to give you back your time so that we can do what we need to do, is help you cultivate your leads and get to the next step on helping them close. Okay? So we're in Woodbridge, New Jersey. That's where our office is at. With Rel Estate Plugs, that's our team name. And one of the reasons, I think, Julian, why'd you guys choose Rel Estate Plugs as a name?
So the reason why, well, I'm Julian, I'm one of Jennifer's team members, and the reason why, get this way, closer, good?
Yeah.
Are we good? Do I look good? That's important. Alright. So the reason why we went with the plugs is it's a kind of a different model of what I thought the loan officer should be. So I started doing this young age, 20 years old, and being a loan officer at 20 is really hard. Going into offices where there's loan officers that are legends, been doing it 10, 15 years, and that's what you're up against, and you're young, so what do you know about finance? You still have student loans. So I decided to do it differently, where it was, can I make the loan officer position better for the agent? And as an agent, what would I like to see in my loan officers that I think would make my life easier? And that's sort of where we'll get into a little bit of how the model works.
Okay, so our lending model is built around the concept of connecting the client with the agent in real time. So by doing this, we're transferring live warm transfer leads to you. So we've set up an entire platform so that we can not only take your leads and work your leads, but we could cultivate them, whether it's 3 months, 6 months to a year. We can touch them on a constant basis in all types of ways so that they never lose touch and they could turn into a transaction at some point in time. Pre-screening our leads is extremely important to us. By pre-screening them, we're removing any doubt of them not qualifying for you and creating an actual transaction. Filtering and continually following up with our inquiries until they're ready. Our concierge service does not just sell, but we do it in a non-threatening way. So we try to befriend them. We try to create a relationship, because this is what this business is all about, right? It's creating relationships with your clients. I'm sure that you all have clients that you've maybe talked to and sold a house or did a listing, and now you've created I'm sure, Louis, you're probably friends with a lot of your clients, right? Yeah. So that's extremely important. Farming our leads, the top leads, is extremely important so that we could push those leads up and get them closed. Freeing up more of the income producing time for you. And we do in-house studio for social media as well. So this is something else aside from just cultivating the leads, that if you come into our office, we have an in-house studio similar to what you guys have as well. We do continuous campaigns, which we'll show you at the end of the slide, for your clients. So if we do a transaction together, we're not just working with them now, but we're going to continuously keep reaching out to them from year 1 to year 5. Why would that be? Does anybody know why 5 years is extremely important to keep touching base with your clients?
Because most people sell their homes within 5 years.
Excellent. Yes, absolutely. So 48% of salespeople never follow up with their prospects. So that's diminishing the time. Good. That's actually bringing down the time that you can get your prospects closed. 25% of salespeople make a second contact and stop. 12% of the salespeople only make 3 contacts and then stop. Only 10% of the salespeople make more than 3 contacts. 2% of salespeople are made. 2% of sales are made on the first contact. 3% of sales are made on the second contact. 5% of sales are made on the third contact. 10% are made on the fourth. And 80% of sales are made on the 5th. And this is why it's so important to follow up and having a great cultivating system for us to continuously touch these leads will help the percentages of them closing.
So it kind of goes into what you guys were doing right today with the dialogue. Mm-hmm. And I know, so this is probably the 3rd time, 4th time I've been in this office, but I know you guys from Facebook. Really, from all the training you guys do a lot of training, and it looks good. Yeah. Because a lot of agencies don't do it, and we're huddling every day. We have a, you guys know Zoom. So we have a live Zoom session all day in our office, where the outside loan officer can come in, boop, pop in, ask a question, processors on, stuff like that, because it's so important to just always be training. Even the people at the top train the most. Tiger Woods has a swing coach. Everyone has a swing coach. Now, the model. So this is a vulture. The average loan officer who, this is the way you're kind of taught to be a loan officer. In and out of offices, dropping off food, dropping off candy, nothing real, or coming in and doing 203K renovation trainings. This is a conventional loan, this is an FHA loan. When it's not really giving you guys a lot of value, I think more value is in scripting, dialogue, going over what do we see from our end when the clients are asking us, well, why should we use that agent, right? Same thing, why should you guys refer us to a client? So learning from each other of how to jump on a grenade for each other, in a sense. So the average loan officer, they go around offices seeing who has business, right? Does this realtor do business? Does this realtor do business? We even have tools. You guys can even look us up to see what kind of volume it is that everyone does, just so you know, well, who's the whales? Who do we target? I like targeting the people who are doing nothing, just to see why. Well, how much do they want to produce? And can the tools that we have help them, right? So we're not going around and just, let me host an open house for you. No, I'd rather not be there. I'd rather you host your open house. Give me all your contacts. Let me data filter them for you. Who wants to work with you? Sometimes you're approaching it from one angle. If you did an open house on a Sunday and on Monday you go and you call all your prospects, you just saw them on Sunday. So that phone call might not be as, they might be like, I'm busy. Versus just subconsciously, if you guys did an open house on Sunday and on Monday, we just called to basically just filter through the experience. Sometimes that different voice can save you. And when we say live transfers, I'll have a client on the phone, I data prospect everything they're looking for. Give me 1 second. I have the best agent. They're actually right in Scotch Plains. It's the heart of New Jersey. And what I can do is I can have them stop by. It's completely free. We've gotten listings. We get a lot of listings for our realtors just because of our conversations. Sometimes if they're not renting, they got a list to buy, and it happens like that. So we do a lot of my time is behind phones, not really visiting offices. That's the difference between a loan officer that's just coming around looking for what you hunted versus the other type of loan officer, which is the eagle, who's hunting with you. So in the front lines, not just here to, be the nice guy. Sometimes we're gonna give each other tough feedback. A lot of loan officers won't do that because they're scared to lose your business. Sort of what he was saying before, sometimes you just gotta tell the people who are gonna sell a house, you gotta tell them the truth, right? Whether they like it or not. So that's a big part of this type of model of loan officer.
Okay, something that we also love to do for our agents is create and give you guys tools and technology to help you deliver and stand out when you do those listing presentations, or if you're just doing an open house. One of the really cool things that I heard you talk about, Louis, when you were giving your presentation is that you guys have the real time when you schedule the appointments, and you could give the feedback back to the seller. This is great because this is a tool you could take to your listing presentation and show them, look, I'm creating a single property website where we're now going to share it via social media. You can pay if you wanted a couple dollars to boost it on different platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Google Ads, and your house is gonna be popping up all over the internet. And this is something that it could be done in seconds. We could do it beautifully, directly.
Is the internet working? Yeah. See if you can click on that.
No, it took me out.
No, it'll take you out. It'll take you out to a page.
Oh, okay, could be this. Yeah.
Yeah. So with these single property websites, a lot of the how Zillow got so big is they got access to all the MLSs. They got access to all the stuff in the background where every time property gets updated, they get an update, and they did it all across the country. Now, these websites are tied to your systems, so Central, Garden, all those systems. And the way it works is, it takes in, you know how sometimes you guys use softwares where you can pull sort of demographics that if you want to show your prospective listings. So it's kind of the same thing. I always tell agents to use these as in if a potential listing agent, potential listing appointment, if they were to ask you,
I don't think we could, I
No?
don't think it's loading, yeah. But basically by clicking on here, it'll take you
to a single property website.
Yeah.
Now, the way it works is if a potential client asks you, well, you're charging me 5% commission. The guy at Queen City Realty is also charging me 5% commission. What makes you different?
Service and benefits.
Right now, besides the service and benefit, I was looking at the book. You guys have a book back there, How to
Selling
Sell
in the
Real Estate
90s.
in the 90s, right? Great points. All of them, things that you have to do. But at the same time, where's a lot of this business going? It's going to the internet. 90% of buyers are going to the internet 27 times before they actually contact an agent because they don't want to feel that sense of commitment. Okay, so they want to do the research on their own. And because of data, they're allowed to do this. So the way we approach it is, if I was asked, well, sir, besides us doing the paperwork and listing your house and doing everything that most agents do of hosting the open houses and stuff like that, I kind of want to show you how we implement technology and how with technology we're able not to only sell your home but sell the community around it. On these websites, you can't click it because the internet's not working, but on this site, this is completely personalized to you, the agent. So your name, your phone number will be here, email here. If you ever needed to print flyers, you can print flyers, click it up here, load it to your Facebook, whatever you have loaded on your computer. The pictures that it pulls the pictures directly from the MLS. So all the pictures get nice and organized. Same thing with the descriptions. Your descriptions everything will pull. You can edit if you like. These look good on the phone too. If you
They're
can send
mobile
them,
friendly.
you can send them as a mobile friendly. I always say, even if you have no listings right now, that's okay. That's okay. Get one of the listings from this office and create something to have with you at all times. You always have to have your tools. So as you keep scrolling through, there's going to be little clickable buttons where we can look at what's the income in the area, what's the
schools.
taxes, schools, how close they are in proximity to the house. You can actually pull up the comps and it'll pull up what was the last sold houses in this area. Other important clickable buttons is interested in a showing. As soon as they click that, you guys will get notified in email that somebody's interested in going to view this house. Okay, so very good way to get duals, alright, to get buyer and seller. And if before we leave, I have this link on my phone. We'll send it out so you guys can see how it works.
Alright, so going back to what I was mentioning about us cultivating your leads for 1 to 5 years, if we had a closing together, if you guys worked on a transaction, we worked as partners together with that transaction, we're closed now, but what's going to happen after the closing, right? Something we do is we continue sending them postcards every quarter on holidays. We keep sending them emails. We keep calling them every quarter so that we could, hey, how are you doing? Are you happy with your home? Do you have a friend that maybe wants to sell? Do you know anybody that wants to buy? That could turn into 2 or 3 clients just by doing those things for our agents and for our partners. So this is what year 1 would look like. We have a plan for year 2, year 3, year 4, and year 5.
So think about it in the sense of your schedule as an agent, right? My schedule is from I like to take my mornings off. So from 5:30, 7:30 a.m., 8 a.m. it's my time. My phone's on airplane mode. I'm doing my gym thing. Now your day, when do you start working? Do you start at 8 a.m. and are you to 8 p.m.? Everyone says, well, I'm available 24/7. Well, not really, because you need sleep. You have to have your set times. Do you work from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.? Now, as an agent and as an entrepreneur, remember, this is the autonomy of your own business. So what do you do with that time? Everything you do at that time, you got to measure in dollars. What kind of dollars is that going to bring me? What kind of values am I bringing myself during that time? So think of these tools as things that can make you do more income generating activities versus you guys having to focus on things that you can automate, right? Add a little automation to what you guys do every day so that you guys have more time doing listings and showings, because that's where the money's made.
Okay, just sold flyers. So even if you have a buyer and you just sold them a house, that's a transaction you just did. Now, have you reached out to the people in the area to see if anybody wants to sell? Is that something that you guys implement here at the office? Do you guys? So that's something that we also like to work on with our partners, is that if we have a transaction together and that transaction closed, we want to reach out to a 1 mile radius within that area and do a partner postcard letting them know, hey, your friend at so-and-so address just sold or bought. Do you know anybody that wants to sell or buy? So this is something that we put together for you guys as a partnership, and it's very valuable. We have unique text messaging links where we put a sign in their house and on the lawn, and they could text to see if there's information. They'll get back information on that listing. So that's another thing that we do.
So these are valuable, but it's just a piece of paper if you don't look at it or use it as value. So you have to not only call, you got to door knock. Like if these get sent out to where you had your listing and we send them out to a mile around, time block, we'll tell you when they're going to be delivered, because you got to look at it as number of touches. This is a touch, you visiting is a touch, you calling is a touch. Because this is 2% chance of sale. First visit increases your chances. Third time increases your chances more, and that continuous follow up. So if you just send this out and don't do anything, it's not going to do anything. It's just somebody's going to tear it up. So doing if we're committed to doing it and you guys commit to your end of it, it'll work for you.
How many of you guys do open houses on the weekends, on Sundays?
Nice.
Okay.
Okay.
And how many of you guys that do the open houses on the weekends door knock the area before you do the open house, the day prior or that Friday before the open house?
It's good. Phone calls is good too. I prefer phone calls just because the time, the number of people you can reach can be so much more. Good.
But believe it or not, I've gone out with my partners to door knock and we've gotten appointments. So if you win, I win. So that's extremely important for me.
So, a couple mind-blowing statistics. This is sort of where, being that I was never really good at being an extrovert, going in and out of offices and doing stuff like that, I had to do something else. I had to live behind phones. But then I realized that 92% of all customer interactions happens over the phone first. It takes up to 8 cold call attempts to reach a prospect. 30 to 50% of sales go to the vendor that makes contact first. 80% of sales require 5 follow-up calls. 44% of sales rep give up. Thursday and Wednesdays, best days to prospect. 78% of salespeople using social media outsell their peers. You guys are social media huge, which is awesome. Salespeople who actively seek out and exploit referrals with a consistent approach earn 4 to 5 times more than those who don't. 90% of home buyers go online first to search for Zillow, an average of 27 times before moving forward. So before, it was always the loan officer was heavy on the agent to get the clients because the agents were the front line. We've now, with the internet and with more technology implemented, we can join you guys in the front lines. Okay, that's sort of where it's different. 91% of customers say they give referrals. Only 11 people actually ask for them. 55% of people making their living in sales don't have the right skills. Continuous training, which you guys do, gives 50% higher net sales per employee. Takes 9 months or more for a new sales rep to be fully productive once they implement a consistent approach. So not just an approach, a consistent approach. Very different. 69% of buyers accepted a call from new salespeople in the past 12 months, and 27% of sales reps who say cold calling is still effective. It's the most effective way of getting business. Okay, so you can skip that one. That goes to the last one. So think of this as your schedule. Okay, so a lot of the stuff you guys do, calling cold leads, showing buyers not yet approved, building mailers for just listed or just sold, update prospect list, data track what buyers are looking for, and getting reviews. So a lot of this stuff is stuff that isn't really making you guys, it's building a consistent approach. It's good, but you guys can be doing more with your time. So where you're making your income is showing, door knocking for listings, social media posts, calling past clients, calling investors, and hosting open houses. This is where a lot of the money is made. Besides everything you guys else have to do, log in and schedule houses, confirm if houses are available. It's a lot of work to be an agent. And so if we're able to, by automating and sort of diving in with you guys, able to eliminate some of these things, it gives you more chance of it. I got this from a book called Don't Eat That Frog, and it just made so much sense to me, as in what kind of things you have to take out of your schedule and pass them on so you can make more money. Okay, you have more time to do income generating activities. So from this, our plan of action, meet one-on-one with the plug to put together a game plan. So that's sort of, not everyone's a good fit for, like maybe some of you guys might not be a good fit for us, just like we might not be a good fit for you guys. And it all is in regards to like scheduling, right? So would you guys commit to doing certain things if our activities give you guys that chance to go get business? Would you guys door knock if we send out a really big flyer and do a big promotion in a certain town? Right? Because if we do our part, or you guys do your part and we don't do our part, then it'll never work. So that's sort of where that commitment comes in, and measure, right? I always say you got to measure your activity, measure our activity, and is it bringing results? Okay. Last part was every call should end with influence and impact. So I'm just going to go through these quickly. It's sort of power scripts that I've been trying for probably a year, 2 years now, and I've been able to get good amount of listings for my agents. I call them power moves, and it's from a book I read called Impact and Influence. So first, I'm not sure. So power move 1.
What is it? It's like automating now.
Is it?
Yeah, it like automated out of nowhere. Do you know how to go about it?
Can you point it to the computer? I got you.
Okay, so these are little scripts that I use over the phone. Really good. Attack the subconscious mind. Why you walk. Why you just do certain things. So I'm not sure if it's for you, but is it automating again?
Yeah, I'll leave it like that. That way it
Yeah.
doesn't automate. I don't know why it's automating.
That's fine. Do it like that.
Out of my corner.
That's 2.
There you go. Causes the subconscious brain to hear there's no pressure here. It spikes the curiosity. I'm not sure if it's for you, but would you happen to know someone who's interested in getting the sales value of their home? I'm not sure if it's for you, but we have an open house this week and you're welcome to join us. Just this little thing here can trigger someone to make a decision too. How open-minded are you? People like to see themselves as open-minded, so it improves your odds of them listening to you. How open-minded would you be about trying a new agency that has saved clients thousands in buyer credits? Would you be open-minded to the idea of seeing how much your home would sell for in this market? Would you be open-minded to the idea of working together on this, whatever it is that you want them to do? Because no one's going to say they're closed-minded. It's just the way you're setting yourself up for a yes. 3. How would you feel if? So creating conditional future scenarios by providing a feeling. Our subconscious mind controls our emotions, and most people make decisions based off emotions. They never think logically or pull themselves out of a situation. So how would you feel if this decision led you to having the down payment you need for your new home? How would you feel if your neighbor is able to find a buyer first? It's huge when you want to take something away from the other agent door knocking. How would you feel if you lost the opportunity to see what your home would sell for in this market? Just imagine. So if you cannot see yourself doing something, the chances of you doing it are slim to none. So creating images that would influence someone and they can kind of see where they would be if they made the decision to go with you. So just imagine how things will be in 6 months' time once you've implemented this. Just imagine how things will be once we finally sell and you can buy that new house that just listed in Woodbridge. Just imagine the look on your kids' faces when they see that they get to stay within the same school district. So a lot of this move here, Disney built itself off of this. That's how Disney was built. Okay. When would be a good time? You subconsciously tell your listener there's no such thing as a bad time. So when would be a good time to take a look at this home? When would be a good time for us to go over these comparables? And when would be a good time for me to go over how our firm is different? Power move 6. I'm guessing you haven't got around to it. It eliminates the excuse of I haven't found a time. With that off the table, either your listener is embarrassed for not following through and makes a new promise to make a right, because no one likes to feel unreliable. So right away you say, well, I'm guessing you didn't have there was no right time. Well, yeah, you know what? Let's do it Sunday, because they never want to feel like they did somebody wrong. I'm guessing you haven't got around to it. So power move 7. I bet you're a lot like me. So followed by something that will compliment your listener and leaving them no choice but to agree with you. I bet you're a lot like me. You like to see it in writing and with facts before you move forward. I bet you're a lot like me and you would prefer to secure financing before going to see homes. Okay? So they can't disagree. Power move 8. If. So creating a scenario using the preface if, followed by adding a second scenario using the preface then. People are highly to believe the outcome. If you decide to list the property now, then you can potentially make more than market price because of inventory levels. If you decide to list it now, then we can definitely find something new before summer ends. If you decide to buy now, then you will be taking advantage of the low interest rates. Power move 9, don't worry. When said confidently and calmly, don't worry can release tension in the situation since the listener subconsciously feels they are not alone in their decision. So always kind of approaching it as like, don't worry, everyone's nervous at first, but this will all work itself out how we planned it. So becoming part of the transaction, like becoming them, like you're really on their team. Don't worry, we have been through this before and know exactly how to proactively approach the situation. Don't worry, we have plenty of time to search for houses and we will find you the perfect home. And the last one, what most people do. So A lot of people, they like to follow the herd, right? If the neighbor did it, they're gonna do it, right? So subconsciously, people feel that if most people are doing it, then it must work, or at a minimum, safe to listen to. So feeling of positive immediate effect that most people can do it, people feel like they have to give it a try to make sure they are like most people. What most people do is check out our awesome reviews on our website when they fill out our online application. What most people do is schedule a quick call so I can show them how I market their home before we take pictures and list. What I find that most people do is list for a minimum of 6 months so they have time to plan. So just, I've been using these. I'm pretty sure you guys have probably found yourself using similar scripts, right?
We use TimeScript. We're not allowed to use anything.
Hey, can I say something?
Absolutely.
This is all very good. It's all very good, but there's so damn many words up there. You'd have a hard time keeping me on the phone through all this stuff. I don't.
No, we're not telling you all of this stuff.
We're not.
This is just these are just the basic samples at the bottom of how you can end conversations. Start
You know, for
conversations.
example, there's one back there about how would you feel.
Yeah.
9 people out of 10 don't care how you feel. They don't really care. So when you start talking about how would you feel if so and so happened, no.
Oh, it's worked.
Well, okay, it's worked.
I think
Yeah.
it's a case by case basis, and I think a
Sure
lot
it
of
is.
you all probably, if you you have to feel the person on the other line out. Some of these are gonna work
That's exactly
If-
right.
Yeah.
if
And
you
most
feel
of
the
time
person.
it comes back to the why are you thinking of moving?
Yeah. Simple as that.
It's simple as that.
Yeah.
So why not just ask them that?
Yeah, simple
These
as
are like
Have
probing.
you ever thought about selling your house?
Mhm.
Yeah,
No.
we thought about selling. Well, when are you thinking of moving? Why are you thinking of moving and so forth? Let's just get straight. Hey, I got a book here that you all need. You wanna buy a
We'll
copy
take
of the
it.
book?
We're always
You wanna
training.
buy a copy of the book for you?
Do you have it
You
digitally?
need it.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll take
You
it.
guys have a question for Jennifer? Guys, anyone? You guys have any questions? Oh, Landy. What's up, Kayla? How are you? How are you? Okay.
All right. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely. I gotta buy that book off you. How you doing, man? Good to see you. Yes, man.
Special prize.
You know that old saying, you feed them and they will come?
Guys, feeding people. Okay, guys, we'll wrap it up. Starting to finish up right now. Just want to cover our announcements, and then we'll let you guys go so you guys can eat. There's a lot of food here, I'm sure. Thank you, everyone, for coming in and sitting through our presentation today. I just want to go over quick announcements, and we'll get out of here. So first thing, we are still accepting clothing and toy donations. So if you have anything that you would like to donate, I know that Nicola's still accepting stuff. I believe John Lewis's church is still accepting stuff, right? There's a lot of organizations that are still taking things. So even though we did submit our toy boxes last week, thank you for everyone who did participate. There are still plenty of organizations that are taking clothing, toys, anything you've got. We can collect it here if you guys have anything, so please feel free to bring it in. Okay, next thing is our Thanksgiving. The Thanksgiving giving back to the elderly is on the 28th. If you guys want to come in, and not here, but if you guys want to be a part of it, it's for the Lions Club in Elizabeth. Last year we did it. We had a lot of people last year. I would say we had so many people there. There were a lot of us that were just like kind of hanging out and networking. But it was nice to see how many people from Culture Estate were there. I spoke to the girl. She says she will need people. So if you guys are interested in participating, it's going to be on the 28th. I think it's at 12 o'clock. They're going to start serving lunch to the elderly and I believe some homeless people as well. So if anyone's interested, it's in Elizabeth on Anna Street. I did email everyone the invitation. If you want to go, please make sure that you show up that day nice and early. Next, we have our Culture Christmas Party, which is going to be December 20th. It was moved, not the 6th anymore. It's the 20th. So if you guys have not RSVP'd, please do so today. The reason why we extended it was because a lot of people wanted more time. to give us an answer, but this will be the last time we do that. So please give us a RSVP today if you can, so we can make arrangements. And lastly, the masterminds prior to today, I can see that there's a lot of people here today have not had too many people here, and I see this time of year it gets very difficult for everyone to show up. So until the end of the year, we're going to suspend our masterminds the way we do it now. I'm still going to do the material, but I'm going to deliver it to you guys in a private manner, which is I'll record it and then send it to everyone, so you guys don't have to come on a Monday to sit here. I know there's like 2 or 3 of you that are always here consistently. So since there is like a small turnout, there's usually only like 4 or 5 people here in person. I get most of our views online. We're just going to do it online, and you guys can watch it at your convenience. You guys can watch it live, or you guys can take it in whenever you get the opportunity to watch it. But I'm not going to make the same 3 or 4 people sit here until we have a bigger group. Like a group like this is good. I think the beginning of the year is when people start to care again, to show up and start to really learn. So we're going to hold it off until then. So just until now, the New Year's, we'll do it in that manner. You guys can still participate in it if you want on a live basis, or watch it whenever you want. Does anyone else have anything to add before we close out? Tom, you have some stuff?
Couple of things.
Yeah.
Real quick. I'm going to be gone all this week, and next week is the last week that I'm going to do anything here this year. I had a bad week last week. I had 7 appointments. I had 2 no-shows, and 5 people had canceled at the last minute.
Wow.
And so, I ain't doing it. I know it. I'm not going to get into the whys. I'm just telling you what happened. So next week, the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. If anybody wants to sign up for that, she's already signed up for Wednesday the 4th, right? All right, if anybody wants to sign up for that, if you want to start learning how to do this stuff, everything you need to know to get started in the business is in this book. And I've sold probably 100 of the books now around different places. Different places. Huh?
You're killing it.
I'm trying. Hey, I got some money, Tom. I got a daughter that's a nurse, and she has $30,000 in debt because she went back to school the second time to get a nursing degree, because she went to Africa and spent a couple of months in Africa, and she came home and said, I'm quitting my job, I'm going to nursing school because I can help a lot of people. She's $30,000 in debt. Every nickel I collect from training you guys or anybody else or this book goes straight to her. Straight to her. That's all the hell I'm trying to do. So anyway, I don't need the money.
That's your why.
That's
That's your why.
That's my why, absolutely. That's my why. I don't need to do this. I'm 83 years old almost, and hey, I don't need to be here. I can tell you that. But if we get another week like last week, I won't be here. I can tell you. So anybody that's interested in next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week, just tell me and we'll sit down here and talk about it. Anybody that's interested in the book, like I said, anybody that's interested in the book, I sold the books for $40 a piece. That's what I've been getting for them. And like I said, I'm selling quite a few of them now. Because guess what? People read the stuff in here and say, dang, don't that works. Because I don't have to say so many words. And there's something in here for FSBOs, there's something in here for expireds. Anything you want to talk about, anything you want to talk about to try to get business is in here. So there's where we are with that. So with that,
Thank you, Tom.
hasta la vista.
And shame on you guys for leaving Tom hanging like that.
I'm not kidding you, that ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen again.
Okay, all right, let's go ahead and close out, guys. If you can, we'll just say our prayer and get out of here. Okay. So, dear Lord, we thank you. We thank you, Father, for having us here once again and today in a special manner. Today we're celebrating Thanksgiving. Our topic today, our theme of the day was to be thankful no matter what is going on in our life, and to always rejoice no matter what might be troubling us. So we ask you to open up our eyes so when we do come across circumstances, as we may sometimes, for you to always show us that we are very lucky to have what we have. And we thank you today for having this food in an abundant manner. We thank you for having so many people here today to enjoy it with. And we thank you for everything, God, even our troubles and our struggles. We thank you for the things that build our character. We thank you for all the blessings that we've had and we're yet to have. And we thank you just for another day to be able to be here. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Thank you, guys. Good job.